What's up, Dominators? Welcome back to the ShiHai's channel, and today I present to you my premium Riviere deck recipe. So, I'm sorry, totally sorry for not releasing a video in like a week. So yeah, it's been a week since I released my last video. There's been a lot of happenings lately with the coronavirus and all that that's happening in Singapore. So we are kind of on a full, not full lockdown, I say, but DORSCON level is orange. I'm pretty sure most of my viewers are living in Singapore as well, so you should know that the coronavirus is getting a bit more infectious and all that. So yeah, I didn't really have a chance to record a lot of content and a lot of stuff, but yeah, I'm trying to push out my premium deck recipe because a lot of you, including whether you're in Singapore or not, are interested in my Riviere deck recipe. So I featured the deck that time when it versus GP, and it actually won. Reasons why is because of the new Riviere support for post V-EB11, so we've got the new Riviere support, and it features a little bit of superior riding as well. It's not as consistent as Ezels, but it is still very dangerous, and it's possible to kill your opponents off even when they are grade 2 or lower, or grade 1. Alright, so let's just jump right into the deck. We're not going to talk about it. But before that, PSA, for those that live in Singapore, please do not be concerned too much about the coronavirus, even though the DORSCON level, it's orange at the moment, going to red maybe soon. But do not hoard stuff, just put all the stuff back in the supermarket. Do not buy excessive things and all of that. Just live your life as normal. It's nothing to be worried about. The mortality rate is very, very low as well, so don't be too worried about it. Alright, so that's about it. Jumping right into that, so we got the first top idol Riviere, the new grade 3 right here. So obviously we have to run the new Riviere because of the force marker. So skill, when place counter plus 1, discard a card from your hand and draw 2 cards. That's basically the first skill. For the second skill, at the end of battle they attack, you discard 2 cards from your hand, write up to 1 card with Riviere in its card name from your hand as stand, and that unit gets drive minus 1 at the end of turn. So what does this mean? It means whenever you ride into another grade 3, you gain a force marker and you gain drive minus 1. But if you are riding into a grade 2 or grade 1, you don't get the force and you don't get the drive at all. But obviously, we do not want to ride into the grade 2 or nor grade 1. We ideally want to ride into the grade 3 ever again. So this is just standard plus support plus a little bit of premium that forms up into the Riviere. Moving on, we got the most broken card of this deck. That's why this deck is actually really, really strong. It's because of this grade 3 card called Spirited Star Choice. A pretty old card back in GCB07, the Devias Festa set, I think. So, X skill from hand, you count plus 1, call this card to Vanguard Circle. Choose a card from my hand, return it to the deck. If Vanguard is grade 2 or greater, search your deck for 1 top idol Riviere, which is this basically, because it's the same thing in standard, the exact same name. Write it as a stand. And if you roll from grade 3 unit, choose 1 face down card with Riviere in its card name from G zone and stride it onto your Vanguard Circle, shuffle your deck. So what does this mean? It means that you're able to stride if you're riding onto a grade 3 and perform your main phase first. It's same thing as like almost Ezels Spearex, but Spearex takes 2 counter blasts instead. And at the same time, this takes 1 counter blast and you gain a free force marker, which is insanely good. At the same time, you choose 1 card from your hand to return to the deck, so you can return a trigger. Increases the chance of checking trigger. And the second skill for this unit is really pretty insane as well. Auto Vanguard Circle, so plus 1 when your grade 4 or greater Vanguard with Riviere in its card name attacks. You may pay the cost if you do stand this unit, so it's a free stand, and you're able to stack force markers on this unit and perform off the attacks with really, really high power. So that's one of the reasons why this card is pretty much busted. Moving on to the grade 3, we got this new animated routing margin. Reasons why we run 2 copies of her is because she allows you to get Riviere back from the drop zone back to your hand. So X hand, if your Vanguard is top idol Riviere, you discard this card, draw a card, put a card from your drop zone into your soul. And if a card with Riviere in this card name was put, you return that card to your hand, and this ability is only used once per turn. So the main skill basically is the exact same thing. But take note that you carry the name of your Vanguard when you strike, so it doesn't matter. You still are able, whatever my English horrible, you still are able, yeah, to activate the skill. And at the same time, it refunds back the Riviere, so that next turn you may use it for either striding or you can ultimate strike as well, which is a very common way to end your opponents off in this deck, which I'll show you later. So moving on to the grade 2, we have Super Idol Riviere, the grade 2 version. So X hand, if your Vanguard is grade 2, you will write this card over your Vanguard circle and draw a card, and you may call up to 2 Mermaid Idol Riviere from your soul to Rearguard circle. So take note that Mermaid Idol Riviere is the great one, and we should get to the right chain later. This deck is performing right chains. It's basically the same thing as standard. Is perform the right chain from grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and from performing the right chain you gain additional effects such as calling cards from your soul to your Rearguard, at the same time having an insane amount of draws, and we should get to later. Second skill is X once per turn, auto once per turn. When your Vanguard Riviere in its card name is played, you may stand this unit. Doesn't really matter in premium unless you're going first, then you can, you know, do the same exact thing in standard where you right into your Riviere and end your opponent off. That's basically it. Yeah, moving on to the new grade 2, we have Colorful Pastoral Cow. Reasons why we run this is because if you're going first and you want to pressure your opponent a lot, you're able to end them off with your grade 3 turn by using this card. So first skill, we don't really care because Melody shares with all your Melody units, blah blah blah, we don't really care about that. Second skill is what we are playing it for. So when placed from hand, you may Soul Blast to search your deck for 1 card with the same card name as your grade 3 Vanguard, reveal it, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck, and this ability can only be used once per turn as the same skill. So what does this mean? It means you're able to search out the grade 3 Riviere and perform the right chain over and over again to end your opponent off. So what does this mean? It's good to have at least 2 to 3 copies in the deck. For going first, you're able to, you know, use it and pressure your opponent by constantly rewriting Riviere's, getting force, and keep having that pressure of the 1 drive. So that's one of the reasons why we actually run that card. Moving on, we have Maturity Talent Selena. This is why this deck is fucking busted next to choice, because of the right chain. So first skill is what we actually have, why we actually play this card, and the second skill is also insane. Actually, why the hell did Riviere created this card? I think they didn't think about it too much about it in standard, but in premium this is legit busted. So X from your hand, you put this card into your soul, choose a card from your hand, discard it. If your Vanguard is Mermaid Idol Riviere, which is this great one, search your deck for Super Idol Riviere, write it on your Vanguard circle and shuffle your deck. So what does this mean? It means that if you're on grade 1, you write that into Mermaid Idol Riviere, and then you have this card in your hand, you put this card in your soul, discard 1 card, search your deck for Mermaid Idol Riviere, yes, for Super Idol Riviere, write that stand. So what does it mean? When your opponent is grade 0, if you're starting first, your opponent is grade 0, you're already grade 2, which is pretty funny as you're able to take the first strike when your opponent is at grade 2. Yes, and you are grade 3 or and above already. So it's pretty insane what this card can do. And the second skill is even more busted. Is when your Vanguard with Riviere in its card name attacks, you may return this unit to your hand. If you do, call this card to RC. What does this mean? It means you're able to stack force markers onto one side, either the left side Rearguard circle or the right side of the Rearguard circle, and keep bouncing these units back from your hand to the and call it to the Rearguard circle. So it's a free restand. It's even more busted than this. At the same time, if you're striding into Tua, Tura, and when your Vanguard restands, it attacks again, you may bounce this unit back to your hand and call it again. So it's like 6 attacks in 1 turn, excluding your other Rearguard circle. So total 7 attacks, because you take into account 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6. Okay, 6 attacks. Yeah, 6. No, I'm not too sure. Wait, let me think. Basically about 6 to 7 attacks. I'm too lazy to calculate in this scenario, but what this means is that this card is freaking busted. As same thing, you are able to stack force markers, so even when your opponent checks a trigger or 2, you're like, I don't give a shit about your trigger or 2, because the force markers you are able to stack on this unit is really insane, especially if you're using Tua. Tua enables you to superior write every ray from your deck, so it guarantees you a force marker if you're using her skill. Yeah, so moving on to the grade 1s, we got Mermaid Idol Riviere. So obviously, reasons why we run this card is because of the starter. So as you can see, I displayed 2 starters here, the V starter, which is on right draw 1, and the old starter, which we'll get to later. Reasons why I displayed these 2 is because you are able to run either one of them. It depends on your preference really, because it ties in well with the skill of Mermaid Idol Riviere, which is X from hand. You may Soul Blast 1, write this card onto your grade 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Riviere among them, put in a hash of your deck, and if Bermuda Triangle Cadet Riviere was Soul Blast for this cost, draw a card. So basically both are the same name, both are called Bermuda Triangle Cadet Riviere, these 2, but they are both have different skills, so we'll get to later. But moving on, we got the new grade 1 from the trial deck. Obviously we got Special Message Aura. Reasons why you run is to filter out your grade 1s and filter out your pieces. This is why it's really important. Skill, when placed, Vanguard, Rearguard, draw a card, discard a card from your hand. This ability may be used once per turn. So take note that these are all once per turn skill. Hard once per turn means it's like naming you are unable to, you know, keep doing it over and over again if you have multiple copies in your hand. Last but not least, we got the super old V-EB11 card, Immaculate Symbol Freya. This grade 1 here. Reasons why we run is because you don't want to miss your red chain ever onto maybe other Riviere for you to tutor out into grade 2 using Selena skill. So X from hand, put this card into your soul, choose a card from your hand, discard it. If you're grade 0 Vanguard, search your deck for one Marine, other Riviere, write it onto your Vanguard circle and shuffle your deck. So as I said before, riding the right chain in this deck is quite important, so you are ideally want to have the right chain, especially a grade 1 and most of the time. So that's one of the reasons why you run her. And second skill is really good against decks that can retire during your turn, such as like Narukami or Kagero, Denial, Griff and all that. Second skill is all your Vanguard with Riviere in his card names gets continuous. All your Rearguards cannot be chosen by the effects of your opponent's card. So most of the time, if not all of the time, you will have a Vanguard with Riviere in its card name. So your strides mostly, not mostly, sorry, have a Riviere in the card name. And most of the time, you obviously would want to be on top idol Riviere. So it doesn't really make much impact, but of course, it's good against clans that can retire during your turn. This is premium, that G-Guards are available, of course, so take note that it's a really good skill to have as well. For triggers lineup, we have 6 crit, 6 draws, 4 heals. So I wouldn't get too much discussion about this because triggers are really flexible. You are able to run 8 crits, 4 draws, 4 heals if you want. But I think running the 6 draws, 6 crits and 4 heals are quite good in terms of getting your pieces, getting the draw power with the 2 extra draws. And at the same time, with the draws, you are able to filter out your pieces much more consistently and your opponent off earlier. With the 6 crits, obviously, crit pressure, and 4 heals because you do run G-Guards in this deck, obviously. So, moving on to the starter, so we have both the same, one 4k base, one 6k base. With the new one, we have just the basic skill on right draw 1 to tie in with Bermuda Triangle Cadet. Not a Bermuda Triangle Cadet, the grade 1 Riviere, which is Mermaid Idol Riviere, right? So take note that you're running this starter, you need to have another grade 1 in your hand. So take note, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people will prefer the old starter instead of the new one, because the old starter enables you to ride into a grade 1 immediately and activate the skill. So the skill is when a card named Mermaid Idol Riviere rides this unit to the top 7, search up to top idol Riviere or super idol Riviere, which is these two basically, and add it to your hand. So what does this mean? Top idol Riviere and super idol Riviere enables the right chain, the grade 2 and grade 3. And when the Bermuda Triangle other than Mermaid Idol Riviere is right, you may call this card Riviere Circle, so it doesn't matter actually. Reasons why we run this old starter is because if you really are unable to tutor out for another grade 1 to activate Mermaid Idol's Riviere, to activate the grade 1 Riviere skill, Mermaid Idol Riviere, yes, you are able to just ride her on top of a starter and immediately activate the skill to filter out for your grade 2s and grade 3s, so you don't miss the chain. As I said before, both have their drawbacks. For the grade 0, you need to draw into another grade 1 and you need to draw into Mermaid Idol Riviere for you to perform the right chain. If not, you have to rely on this grade 1 in order for you to have the correct ride. While for the old starter, it's easier where you just immediately ride onto Mermaid Idol Riviere and then just filter for the top 7, get a grade 2 or grade 3. If you have another one in your hand, it's even more plussing for you because you are able to Soul Blast this starter right on top, check top 7 for the either one grade 1, grade 2 or grade 3 for any Riviere, add it to your hand and you still draw a card because both have the same names of in terms of having Bermuda Triangle Cadet Riviere in the name, so you still draw a card based on the skill. So it's really good. And I think I forgot to explain the second skill of this card. Basically, if it's in the back row, it's a 10k booster, so against 2k if it's in the back row, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's about it for the starters. Really flexible, it's really up to you what you run. I recommend the old starter. It boosts the consistency of the deck, so you don't really have to draw into 2 grade 1s at the start in order for you to, you know, perform its skill. But if you do draw into 2 of these grade 1s, it's a free plus for you, why not? You can take it. But other than that, riding onto this Mermaid Idol Riviere is very important to perform the chain because the grade 2 requires you to be on this grade 1 specifically. So yeah, moving on to the G-Zone. G-Zone that everybody's most excited for. First, we have obviously the legendary Idol Riviere. you would have to run this in your deck if you're running Tua. So this card enables you to superior ride or superior strike in a sense. If you're riding on top of a grade 3, you're superior striding into this card. So I wouldn't get into the skills of the G zone. I may be a little bit more onto why we actually run the cards but not the skills. So obviously we would want this card. 2 copies is at minimal. You are able to run 4 copies because of Tua's skill. As I said before, most of the time when you're running this card, you're only striding into it when you have when you're using Tua's skill. If not, other than that, most of the time you'll be striding into Tura or any other strides. So 2 off minimal, 4 off optimal, fine, sure, doesn't matter. Moving on, we got Tura, Chocho, popular favorite Tura. Obviously, this card is pretty busted. As I said before, you can swap out 2 of these Rivieres for 2 of these Turas for Riviere, so you can able to run 4 copies. But most of the time when you're running Tura is because of this first skill in which you get to restand, second skill which is you get to restand the Vanguard, Generation Big 3, and Emerald Battle this in your attack. Choose 3 Regards, bottom deck. If you choose 3, stand this unit, gains drive -2. So it's a 3 drive by 1 drive, so it applies the pressure. At the same time, for the first skill, this unit gains 5k for each open rearguard circles that you have, and it only applies to Chocho units, so take note, there's absolutely no Chocho units in this deck other than this Vanguard. But basically you're whacking with your opponent with higher numbers so that they either have to PG or they have to take it. Moving on, we got Sabreeze. Good tag, but most of the time you wouldn't use it. You can switch it out for any other G guard or any other stride or G guard. It's pretty much optimal, but it is there just for the tag. Most of the time you wouldn't use it because if your opponent gives you Counter Blast, which they shouldn't, most of the time you're able to just tutor out Tua and immediately strike when they're grade 1 or grade 2, so it's pretty cancerous. Moving on to this card right here, this trial deck card which I run because it's a really good first strike if you're really unable to do anything. If you have no Counter Blast, you got nothing to tutor out, or you just want to filter your deck for the pieces that you need for next turn, you're able to strike into this strike. So its skill Chocho, it's called Chocho Lineal. Yes. Its skill, when this unit attack hits the opponent's Vanguard, choose 1 of your rearguards, bottom deck it, or put it, return it to your hand, sorry. You either return it to your hand or put the bottom of your deck. And if you put the bottom of the deck, you draw 2 cards. So it's a pretty much free filter. You're able to call trigger down, you whack your opponent's Vanguard. Most of the time, they wouldn't guard it, especially if they're on grade 2 or below, or grade 3, they have no access to G guards, except they are obviously perfect guards or sentinels. They're most likely no guarded, which enables you to activate the skills, so that's one of the reasons why I want to run 1 copy of. Ballerina, the new set from the SSO2, special set, yes. Or special set 01, sorry. Reasons why we run is basically a free progenitor. It's a free strike. So continuous G zone, this card cannot be turned up by abilities, and if this card's face up, you can strike without paying the strike cost. So it's a really good first strike if you actually want. I usually do it, but most of the times I either go into Tura or Riviere. If you are facing against decks that can deplete your hand size really harsh and you want to conserve hand size in terms of the specific grade 3s like Tura and Riviere, in order for you to activate their OP abilities like ultimate strides and restanding Turas, restanding Tua, sorry, not Tura, you want to strike into this progenitor because it enables the free strike for next turn. Second skill is when your opponent's Guardian space, you discard a grade 1 or less card from your hand and retire the Guardian. It's pretty simple. If your opponent wishes the G guard, you can just throw them by throwing grade 1 or less and retire the G guard, so they have to throw more cards for them to guard. It's pretty much like the what's it called, die bird? Yes, die bird skill, but instead of checking top 3 and make sure you have a grade 3 die robo, you just discard grade 1 or less in order to retire the Guardian. We have Megiddo, the princess version of Megiddo, the modified Japanese version, Japanizing beam of Megiddo, right here. Reasons why you run obviously is because you are able to end your opponent off with this card. It's really, really strong, especially tied with Salina and Tua. Tua, that's right. So why are these 2 cards very cancerous in a sense, that's why I put it in thumbnail, is because of their restanding abilities. So when you strike into Megiddo, Counter Blast 2, when placed. You may choose up to 5 cards from a hand and drop them, call them to separate RC, and they gain 5k on the end of turn. And at the end of the battle that this unit attacks, they all gain a skill, all your rear guards gain a skill. At the end of the battle that this unit attack, you may choose one of your other rear guards and exchange positions with this unit. What does it mean? It means you're able to perform all the attacks on your force marker, switch, force marker on all of these units. And it's especially dangerous because on choice, fine, I'm just gonna talk about choice. On choice, when your Megiddo actually attacks, you may Soul Blast as many amount of choice you have on the field. Restand them, you can use Selina's ability, bounce it back to your hand, and call it the Vanguard Circle again, because you do have a Riviere Vanguard, which copies, which is the grade 3, which copies the name from the grade 4, even though you're on Megiddo, and you're able to perform the exact same thing all over again on the force marker, because number one, take note that Selina does loses the skill, so best is to call choice onto the field instead using Megiddo skill instead of Selina. But if you do have Selina, obviously call it, because you can call up to maximum of 5 and you have calling 4 choice already, so you have one open slot for Selina. Number one, you gain back all of the abilities in which when this unit attacks, you may choose one of your other regards and exchange positions with this unit. So basically a free restand on the force markers, which you probably have like 2 or 3 force markers already. And then you do the exact same combo, attack, switch, attack, switch, attack, switch. The last attack will be Selina, because it's a new unit, it doesn't gain, it loses the ability of when this unit attacks, you may swap. At end of battle that this unit attack, you may swap this rear guard with another rear guard. So take note that this uses the ability, but choice to gains the ability, it still retains the ability. That's why this Megiddo is really, really strong, and most of the time I use it to end games, because it's just whacking your opponents with like 30-40 Ks attacks like multiple times, more than like 8 times, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, with 11 attacks, including your Vanguard, which is like a big 25, 38k base, if you're on Riviere, of course, 38k base. They're not going to survive that. The shield value is insufficient for the deck to survive, especially when they're on 5 damage, instant death. So take note that it's very important that you have Megiddo in the deck to boost your power of deadliness, in a sense, yes, and you are able to end games easily. Alright, last strike we have in the deck is actually attack, a free tag, and whatever you want to play. I run NG, so reasons why we run NG in this deck, why I run NG, is because of the matchups like Link Joker, which is prominent. There are still Link Joker players, especially when you go against them, it's pretty hard because they lock their rear guards. That's why that one tag of NG is really good. I'm not going to explain the skill basically, but it's good to have, but most of the time you wouldn't use it. For G guards wise, Sandy, this card right here is the biggest G guard at the moment because Ellie got banned. Thanks a lot, Sean, for getting Ellie banned. But the skill of Ellie is obviously too overpowered, that's why it needs to get banned. Sandy gains 5k shield for each 2 cards in your hand, so she's the highest G guard that you can ever have, and you may counterblast 1 gain an additional 5k shield. This smell for those decks that really wants to hit your vanguards or wants to retire your units, not your hits your vanguard, hits your rear guards, or want to retire rear guard no matter the cost. That's why it's important to have this smell to enable the protection for your Selina or choice. 2 Citrons, because it's the second highest shield value you're ever gonna get probably. Skill is you place it on rear guards, Guardian Circle, choose one grade 1 or less, call it the rear guard, and if you call a card, it gains 10k. So it's a free 25k shield. I guess not really free because you have to call it grade 1 or less, so it's fine, I guess. Moving on to Hand in Hand Leona, I got the WSP right here. It looks really, really cool. Reasons why you run, of course, it's the free intercept if you have a grade 1 on field. It's a free plus 10k shield. So when this unit plays, choose one rear guards, return it, call a card from your hand to the Guardian Circle, and if the unit has the same card as the card that you return, this unit gains 5k shield. So it's a free 30k shield if you return a grade 1 and call that grade 1 onto the Guardian Circle. So 15 plus 5 because it's no skill, and then plus another 10 from grade 1 is a free 30k shield. Not free, but it's a 30k shield. That's basically it. So yeah, that's the basis of the deck. I think it's really strong. Possible to beat Ezels, because if Ezels players, I plan to give this deck a counter blast. So yeah, our superior right even faster than you superior right Ezels. So Spirit Cancers, I hope you guys like this video. You can go check out the fight of Bermuda versus Ezels. It's pretty interesting, pretty popular on my channel because I don't really post premium content. But yes, I'll try my best to push out videos ASAP. Probably gonna create another premium deck recipe for Nubatama really soon, hopefully. But at this point of time, I'm trying to find Claret recipes and getting the V-EB11 recipes out, like Claret, Revon, and Narukami Vanquisher. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, Dominators. Stay safe. Don't get the coronavirus. Don't be too paranoid. Don't hot stuff. And I'll see you, Dominators, in the next video. Peace.